All right, Iowa, it is Tuesday, March 4th, and we're going to talk about this blizzard that's coming for us here starting basically now through your Wednesday. And this is a pretty concerning situation given the wind speeds and potential snowfall for some areas. We're going to go over the details of all that here. But first, I just wanted to show you where the current blizzard warnings are. And you can see, in the case of Iowa anyway, pretty much the whole western two-thirds of the state. And where we have this, I want to call it mustard color, um, yellow cat poop, I don't know. That's your high wind warning. And eastern Iowa, you're not under a blizzard warning, probably because you're going to get a higher percentage of rain versus snow out of this event. Maybe this will change over time, not 100% certain, but for now, just in a high wind warning. And then the blizzard warning over the rest of the state here. Looking at the system, you'll see this low pressure really start to strengthen in just a matter of a few hours here around Kansas City and move off through southeast Iowa, across Illinois into Wisconsin, Lake Michigan, where it will kind of weaken a little bit then. But this is really going to sort of strengthen right at the worst time for Iowa. We're right on the backside of this low. We're going to have some very strong winds. And just looking at a still image, this is for midnight tonight. You see our low pressure down here in northern Missouri at 982 millibars. It should actually strengthen, or in other terms, get lower from that by a few millibars. But I highlighted a few points here that are at 1,006 millibars. And what I wanted to illustrate is the difference in distance. So from, say, almost Sioux Falls down to Missouri here, we have the same pressure change as we do going all the way up here into Lake Superior. And when you have a pressure gradient that is that short, that tight, you get some intense winds. And if you're not familiar with weather maps, I'm sure a lot of you are, but these contour lines here are isobars, or lines of equal pressure. So roughly every county in Iowa is changing 2 millibars. That is a rapid, depending which way you're going, up or down increase in pressure. And that's what's driving this crazy wind. These are your forecasted gusts based on the National Weather Service modeling, and out here in western Iowa, looking again at that 65 mile per hour expected gust. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few pockets recorded at 70 miles per hour. But even out here in eastern Iowa through the day, tomorrow you're looking at upwards of 50 miles per hour. And again, is why we have that high wind warning, where we don't necessarily have the blizzard warning. Speaking of the blizzard, we need snow for that to happen. This is your precipitation type depiction. And basically, right around 9 p.m., going over the overnight into tomorrow, is when snow is going to transition from the northwest to the southeast and eventually leave the state about 6, 7 p.m. Tomorrow evening. But in that time, we're going to see some pretty heavy snow in spots, and it's just going to be really amplified by those winds. The one maybe saving grace is we aren't going to have just a chilling drop in air temperature. These are your temperatures for 6 a.m. tomorrow. And being pretty close to freezing does help with the roadways. The treatment's pretty ineffective because of all the rain we've been having today. It just get washed away. It wouldn't do any good. But there will be compacted snow and ice on top of what rain has fallen, and it will be cold enough to freeze. The ground's been kind of warm. We are getting into that time of year with the sun and everything, that it's not like we're in mid-January where this would just rapidly freeze into a hard sheet of ice. It's probably just going to be a slushy mess if I were to venture a guess at this. We'll get into the meat of our snowfall totals. These are modeled totals. This is from the GFS. And you'll see a common theme that roughly north central back here to western Iowa is going to be our heaviest pocket of snow, and lighter amounts as we go east. And then Lyon County, you're just kind of losing out on all the fun, it seems. But Des Moines, you're kind of on that fringe. Waterloo, you're kind of on that fringe where you might see a lot of snow or very little snow. This model's painting 7 inches. If we look at the European model, it's only 2 inches. But again, that heaviest amounts, like Carroll, Denison, up there towards Algona, Esterville, you're in for the worst of this storm for sure. This amount of wind, even lesser amounts of wind, will cause whiteout conditions. Travel overnight tonight into early tomorrow is probably going to be pretty close to impossible. I've been out in blizzard conditions doing live streaming, and 30-mile-per-hour gusts is no fun at all. You just can't see where you're driving, barely 15 feet in front of you. And the one thing that I just want to point out with this storm that's a little different than some recent blizzards we've had is the last couple of the winds kind of came in after the snow fell, but here the wind's going to actually be blowing while the snow is falling. So instead of having a ground blizzard, this is a full-blown true blizzard, which I can't remember the last time we had this. So it may take people off guard because it has been so long. And one more model just to look at. This is a shorter range but higher resolution. That's why there's a little more, messiness to it. But this is the NAM 3K, but largely again painting the same picture there, north central back to western Iowa. Getting the heaviest amounts, of course, owing to being in the snow band versus the rain band the longest. This is officially from the National Weather Service about 4 p.m. this afternoon. Very much the same story. Not a whole lot of inconsistency with these models, so I would hold this to be pretty confident. It's just going to be in that transition area, I think, where the greatest uncertainty is going to be as to whether you get 2 inches or 5 or 6 inches of snow. And the impacts of that wind is going to be the same, really, either way. And it's obviously, with that strong a wind and colder temperatures, we are going to be facing some cold temperatures in the morning. Wind chills, single digits to teens across most of the state, except for, at least for a little while, in eastern Iowa. So if you do get stranded, it's not going to be a fun experience, and you should certainly, as I hope all of you already know, if you happen to get stranded for any reason, just stay in your vehicle. Hopefully you still have your winter preparedness kit with you. We, believe it or not, we're in meteorological spring. That started on March 1st, but we have quite the line of a storm here, if I may say so. Pretty impressive and interesting from a meteorological perspective. Something I found interesting on this map, Green Bay, wind chill 30, St. Louis, wind chill 30. You can just see the power of this low just wrapping around that cold air way down south and around. And in the middle, you still have places like Peoria and Chicago that feel much warmer. So it's a very strong system. Not record setting, but incredibly strong system driving that wind and precipitation. So thank you for making it this far through the video. I'm Clarence Smith. This is the Weather Shed, the shediest weather on the internet. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next video.